This June, head to South Australia to run the 4th edition of the McLaren Vale Marathon, South Australia's premier marathon event. With a new race hub in the centre of town and an improved flatter course, you can look forward to some fast racing through the heart of the McLaren Vale wine region with the usual exceptional race experience you have come to expect from the Great Southern Runs. If you've been looking for a reason to visit South Australia, this is it.
Child, that your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking.
You don't even know what the event is though, do you?
That's what we're going to get to, mate. Don't worry about that. The mic's on. Welcome to episode number 378 of the Inside Running Podcast. A massive thanks for being with us for another week. Got a big show for you this week. We've got some running news with the ACT champs. A couple of states had Milers Club meets as well. The young king was busy over in the US on the indoor track. We'll talk about him. South Australians went fast at 3K. New Zealand results. We've got some whispers. Moose on the loose. Listen to question. And a bit to preview this week in what's coming up. Welcome to my co-host. He's down in Anglesea. Just tell me off air that he is the winner, or he was the winner, of the Sri Chinmoy 15K in 2019, and possibly the 2017 Run Ballarat race where he smoked Dua Yoa. And long-time fans of Australian distance running would remember the quality of that athlete. How are you, Julian Spence, down in Anglesea?
Good, mate. I'm just reminiscing. I just pulled up the results, actually. 2017 it was. Two wheelies in the race. Sam Rizzo, Richard Coleman, both Olympians, I think.
Yep.
Then there's myself, one that was the first able body. Beat Dua Yoa by 2 minutes and 5 seconds over 5K.
Oh, I didn't just beat him. Smacked him up.
Wiped the floor with him.
Over what distance did you say? 10K?
12K.
12K. What was
Solid too. We went up, we went down Sturt Street. You know how you went down in your race where you finished off down there?
Yeah.
Except we didn't turn left or anything. We just kept going down all the way to the bottom and then around and up the hill on the other side, and then basically did a U-banger up near Macca's and went all the way back up Mare Street round the lake again. So that's 12K. And it was good. It was a good event. Run Ballarat. Part of the run series. You know, remember around Australia there was like Run Wollongong, Run Geelong, obviously Run Ballarat.
Had some connection to Cotton On or something too, didn't it?
Yeah. So Cotton On had Run Geelong. So that was where that started from. And then in one year they actually brought all the winners of each regional race down to Geelong to race off in a run championships kind of thing.
Just looking at his PBs, half marathon, when he won Gold Coast half marathon in 2016, 63.50. He's actually done pretty well to win it in that time, to be honest. That's a bit of a slow time for that race, but that's a big race to win for Dua Yoa.
It was probably his biggest win, really.
Yeah, 28.46 guy. But marathon, remember he did his debut at Melbourne and he ran 2:20.54.
Ran past him that day.
Did you?
He was in the gutter with a space blanket on.
No, he must have done it like this year. He finished 2:20.
Oh, he did? Oh, right. He finished it. Oh, so
maybe that was a year after.
What year was that? What year you say?
Yeah, 2014. That's when I paced you.
Oh,
you definitely didn't run past him that day. Yeah.
No, he's come back actually, and he's run that again, the marathon again in 2016 on that warm day. And he was part of a group, maybe with Tom DeCano out there, and who else was out there on that day?
That was a super windy year, 2016.
Windy and hot. Zach and Newman, 4th place.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Zach's, yeah.
You know what, though? That day, he had Mottram cheating him on the bike, palming him drinks, It was actually protest put in, I reckon.
Weren't there a lot of people doing that, though?
That year.
Back at Melbourne, you could do that, though. Everyone used to do it.
Oh, could you, though? Could you?
Yeah, it was if you got caught.
I reckon Zach had just maybe pushed the limits a little there. I remember running the pack thinking, should I complain about this or not? Zach is just...
So were you 5th?
Oh, yeah, 5th.
And he was 4th.
Yeah.
I love that we're rattling off the glory days just to make up for our 20 and 30K training weeks.
Couple of busted people here.
This is good content, Croaks. This Run Ballarat. Let me tell you the other winners of this. So the ladies' winner, Selma Karjan, who Olympian, went to Rio.
Guest on the podcast, very very early days.
I think third guest perhaps.
Episode 4 or something like that. Yeah.
Winner of the kids race, not the kids race, the 6K. Harry Sharp plays footy for Melbourne Demons. Just come from Brisbane Lions. We're talking some quality winners out there.
I think you'd find the depth of that event would drop off pretty quick, though.
We had 3rd place in the race I was in, Nick Van Raaphorst. He's been...
Yeah, tell me 10th. Tell me what 10th was.
10th, Jordan Mason, regular AV runner.
He's a good
regular AV runner.
He's got the course record in Echuca around our athletics track. Remember that? Port of Echuca as well. No, he's got the Port of Echuca course record as well. Long-time listeners will remember because I was complaining about him doing medicine rounds up here. Like I was pissed off that he took my course record. My other co-host is in Canberra, refers to himself as the King of Canberra. He's been in northern New South Wales for the last week, though, so he's going to have some stories. And I did just ask him off air, just said, give me a race that you've won over the years. He pulls out a framed picture of Rob D. Costella with a signature on it, and he said, do you know what this race is? I'm concerned with how quickly he located this photo, Moose. And I said, don't talk anymore. I want to record this. Croaks, what race was it? What story have you got for me?
So it was the 2013 Stromlo Running Festival 7.5K race. And so, so Dan Green, who was, I think, coaching me at the time and owned Run for Your Life, he actually started up the Stromlo Running Festival, and it's still going now in a different sort of capacity. They've got like 50K races, 30K races, and it's more so through the hills, whereas this was actually on the Stromlo cross-country course. So they had also age and sex adjusted like rankings. And so, I won the Opens race. I actually just found the results. So it was 7.5K, so 3 laps. I won 22.48, beat Ryan Walker 23.17. And then Michael Chapman was 3rd, 23.23. So anyway, the trophy was a signed picture of Deke, and so Deke presented it, and then actually went to his house afterwards and cooked the barbecue. Had lunch at his house.
That story.
Yeah, that came from this race, and then maybe a month later, I thought, it'd be pretty, because it wasn't signed at that point. It was just a photo of him with the plaque underneath. I'm like, it'd be pretty cool to get him to sign it. So, so saw him and took the picture out and said, can you sign this for me, Deke? And he's written, never, never, never give up, Deke. So that's pretty cool. Memento.
Timely for you. Timely to pull that out now.
You haven't given up. Well, yeah, I didn't listen. I've given up about 6 times between then and now.
Did you when you said you ran into him, do you mean you went to his house and waited until he walked out the door for 4 hours in your own car?
No, so the girl I was dating at the time was working for the Indigenous Marathon Project. So that's the reason I got the invite to the barbecue after the race, and obviously saw him a few times just because of where she was working.
Can you explain how you end up on another man's barbecue?
I do not know, Moose. I would have thought you go over to somebody's house and you're having a barbecue. They generally cook the barbecue, but he was just like, here you go. I actually felt really nervous.
Don't want to stuff that up. Give everyone food poisoning.
Well, firstly, it's like, this is his house. This is his barbecue. This is the first time I've seen this barbecue. And then it's also Deke.
Yeah.
So
and you're trying to impress your girlfriend as well. She's trying to impress her boss, bringing this guy over.
Yeah.
Not a good look, not cooking your own barbecue for Deke, I don't reckon.
Yeah, someone did comment on our YouTube page after last week's episode when we were talking about Deke. Asked us why we haven't had him on the show, and we did try to get him on. I remember for the 100th episode. I remember we tried to make the 100th episode real real special. And the person we knew who was trying to help us out didn't quite land it. But I've spoken to Deke a handful of times since, and I must hit him back up and do a real, imagine 2 hours with Deke. Let's make that happen. I want to read his book again before I'd interview him.
Read his book, because his book's pretty raw, but I reckon Deke's been through the media circus for the last 30 years. So you gotta flush that out of him a little bit, I reckon, the first maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, which you would. That's why you'd want 2 hours.
Yeah, that's right. Because I've listened to a lot of podcasts, and it just, you get why, but you just sort of hear the same sort of stories. So I reckon we need just a refreshed, show him some footage from back in the day, bring out some training diaries. That'd get him going, I reckon.
Oh, yeah, you get some of that. You get the audio of some of the races, inserted in there, listen to this and then, talk about it for a while.
And get a few stories from guys that used to run with him as well.
Yeah.
You go, this person told me this, Deke, and then because that stuff wouldn't come up in his other interviews.
You'd want to put in a minimum of 20 hours prep time, I reckon, to do it. I'm serious. You'd want to do it justice.
20 hours.
Well, it'd take you 10 hours to read his book. You know what I mean? And then you have to watch some tape. You'd want to watch some tape. Yeah. See if we got budget for that, Croaks.
When he says he's working to Carly, this is what he's talking about. Watching YouTube and reading books.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking that today when I was going through, Clayton Young's YouTube, then I watched the Shelby Houlihan one, and then I watched a bit of Vic Milers Club, and I'm like, I can justify this as prep for the podcast. As my kids are running crazy in the other end of the house. But yeah, no, you've got to be informed, Moose. Let's talk about some training anyway, fellas. You guys, tell you what, you're not giving me much this week to recap, but we'll go with you first, Moose, because you had a scan. So I feel like this is a bit of a, you got some answers this week.
Yeah, so I did. I had a shit week, so it's another setback for me. I'll just pull up my training, which is almost non-existent, because I ran Monday and I ran Tuesday, and I got the scan on Tuesday, but it was after that I pretty much decided to take some time off, and that was because my back was playing up a fair bit, not just my sciatica, but the rest of my back too. So I went and got this scan, and the scan, it showed numerous things, but at the same time that I got the scan, I also decided to start taking some anti-inflams, proper course of them, as well as take rest. So not run and not do the gym like I normally do. And the scan came through. I sent it to my personal radiologist, Lee Moselle from South Australia. Fantastic guy. Gets back to me so quickly and goes through my scans before the reports come out, and just I trust him over anyone with these results. But he had a look at it, and he lined the symptoms up with the scan. Pretty much just looked to see what could potentially be causing it, and sent through some images with the things highlighted, which don't mean a great deal to me, because if you've ever looked at an MRI, it's pretty confusing. But he essentially said the lower 4 lumbar discs are degenerating, with the lower 3 showing small tears, a known cause of back pain. This is worse at L4, L5 with an annular tear and a small disc protrusion. The disc bulge and slight degeneration of the adjacent left facet joint very slightly narrows the lateral recess at L4, L5, where the L5 nerve descends before it exits. Basically, there's a disc bulge and there's compression of the nerve as it exits the joint, which is what's probably causing the sciatica, and the disc bulge is most likely what's causing my back flare-ups that I'm getting much more regularly now than I used to. So it's pretty annoying. I have chatted to a few people about what this means, and I have a referral sent through to the radiologist clinic for cortisone injection in my joint, in my L5 joint. So I'm going to be getting some anti-inflammatories put right at the source of the pain or the inflammation, but that won't really help the disc issue that I'm getting. It should just help the sciatica. So I ran again on Sunday. So I actually came I came good, not running for 3 or 4 days. And then I also took anti-inflams pretty strongly, like regularly for 3 or 4 days. And I started to feel a lot better, especially the back pain stuff. The inflammation dropped. And then I went for a jog on Sunday, midday kind of on the treadmill. Felt fairly good. No real issues. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm back. Maybe I just needed a bit more of a rest. But I woke up a bit shit today, and then I ran on the treadie for a half an hour, and the sciatica was bad. And then during the day I worked today. During the day at work, it sort of flared up the back. So I had like Ellie come over the Savo, have a look, and then basically write me a Pilates reformer program. Instead of running for a week, I'm going to do that, at least a week. I'm going to get the injection this week. And we're just going to put running out of our mind for a little bit.
Even with running out of your mind, it's still like it sounds like a pretty shitty way just to be even trying to work and stuff as well. Like the fact that it impacts you in just day to day would be shit.
100%. That's where this is frustrating. I could probably do like an Achilles injury or something, or whatever, or shin pain, and still work fine. And I'm still pretty happy and comfortable. Like I can be in the gym, I can go surfing, I can paddle my paddleboard. But now I can't really even bend over to pick up Pia. When I go down to play with her toys, like it's really unpleasant and uncomfortable. I can't work properly because I look stupid walking around the shop floor like bent over sideways. And it just ruins your sort of enjoyment of all things in life. So these sort of treatments are not so much to get me back running; they just get me back being a functioning human.
And do you have an appointment for like a sports doc or somebody that you're going through?
Yeah, I do.
Proper channels.
I do. Fucking 5 weeks away. Yeah. So like, what are you going to do? 5 weeks you can't get in to see someone? It's fucking ridiculous.
The same here in Canberra. I had a look, for down the track with this heel and Achilles, and it's like mid-March.
Yeah,
the guy that I would normally go and see.
Yeah, it's like a shortage of them or something.
Yeah.
Maybe you could go to a good online one, because a lot of the time the sports doc hasn't really assessed me physically anyway.
Yeah, I'd probably go physio initially, who can write the referral for the scan, and then once I get the scan back, I suppose if it showed like bursa and something that I could get a cortisone, then it's like, okay, well, that's probably easy for either. I don't know if the physios probably can't refer that. I guess then you just go to. Can they refer like for cortisone?
No, they can't.
Yeah, so I'd just go to a GP then and go, look, I've been for a scan.
Yeah.
This is what's come back. Can you write a referral for a cortisone?
So the GP can do that though?
Yeah.
Can they actually facilitate it or just write a referral to get it off somebody else?
Here in Canberra, normally the GPs will write the referral and then you go to the imaging places and they do it under ultrasound.
Oh, yeah.
So the radiologist is the injector, basically. So for this CT guided jab into my spine, they'll put the needle in, they'll put me in it, they'll get a scan of where the needle's sitting, and they'll adjust where it's sitting. Then they put you back in the machine, scan you again, and they adjust until they get the needle in the right spot and they can see it via scan. That makes it much more accurate than if they're just like using it by feel.
Just chuck it in there somewhere and hope for the best.
Well, it was interesting chatting with Brett on Sunday, because I rode with the group. I rode the bike while the guys did a long run, and he said that it used to be like the really skillful ones made a real name for themselves because it was all by feel. So they would be like, okay, it's all, like I've done this so many times, I know where it's going, and I get a feel for where the needle is and all this. But nowadays, under the imaging, you can be a little bit more accurate.
Interesting. But yeah, slow process, you're saying?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's going to help it or fix it, but it's the next process. Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean with getting running out of my mind for a bit. Just can't. There's only so many times you can get slapped back down before it starts to drain you. So I get my motivation up this last time. Coming back, I'm like, this is it. I've got my feel back for running, and I'm keen to get going. And then I get slapped back down, and then I go again, and then I get slapped back down, and I just can't keep going back knowing that slap back down's coming. It's just difficult to deal with, mainly like mentally, because it sucks the life out of you. This next time I come back, I want to do it properly. I'm not going to come back and be halfway better before I start trying.
Yeah, and it's different to when you're coming back when you're unfit. It's like, you're just unfit, you can solve that problem. But when your body's not playing ball, it's like, or something else pops up.
Yeah, I know. The back is scary for me too, because there's so many people out there with back issues that it just ruins their careers as well as their running, their sports. They can't exercise, they get fat, they get
quality of life.
Stressed, yeah. Back.
And you're not that old either, Moose. Like, to have back issues.
They can't replace discs. Like, you can't. Like, once a disc goes, there's not much you can do about it. They can't just put a fresh fucking jelly pad of disc in there.
Oh, well, good luck, Moose. Are you going to, disassociate yourself with running a bit? Like, if you found yourself, less on Strava, not consuming running content, do you need to do that to be like, all right, I actually do need to step away a bit and just, get myself right and then come back to it?
Yeah, I'm not watching any YouTube. Strava, I go in there. I've still got a few athletes that I look after, so I'm on there to check those guys, but I'm not digging into the elites of the world's training. I'm not watching YouTubes. And I'm not in store. Obviously, you got to talk running. Like that's one of the issues with working in a running store, is that I will talk running to people. But I actually like that. I feel like I can empathise, because I'm not talking to someone who hasn't been injured in 20 years. I get to chat to them, and it's almost quite real. Like, you can have maybe deeper conversations. I remember when I used to be fit, running 200K a week, you would chat to people, and it would be hard for me to consider that their 20K a week of running with all these niggles was important or real.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's just how it was. Yeah. And they hear about me running that much, and they can't really associate very well with that. So now I'm fucking the everyday man. We can chat exactly. We are very much on the same page with the majority of people coming in. Like, I get semi-offended. Someone comes in now and I say, "Oh, how much are you running?" Lady goes, "Oh, just only not much, 50, 60K a week." And I'm like, fuck, that's a lot. I wish I was running that much.
Yeah. Oh, well, good luck with it all.
Thanks.
I usually do say it's a good week from you, but I can't this week. It's a
good
week. You've got some findings. There's a good week in that.
If I copped a good week, that's a good week. I would have driven to a chuka and knocked you out.
A real sympathy good week.
At least you're listening. You normally say that when you don't listen.
Oh, I actually, and you did say earlier this afternoon, maybe you shouldn't be on tonight. I actually think there's value in this, because even I haven't had a lot of injuries. So you guys describing how you go to the physio, and then they write a thing to go to this, and then this person does a jab. I think there's good learnings in it and a lot of the listeners have been in the same boat as you, or they will be in the next 2 or 3 years. And I think it's good that the listeners hear that this is what's happening too, the actual diagnosis.
Yeah, I reckon, based on my interactions with customers, there's a real underutilization of practitioner treatment out there. I reckon most people wing it and they ignore going to see someone, and it's a real waste of time before they get an answer. And then the treatment plans that perhaps they're given are the long, drawn-out, conservative plans. And I reckon most people would want to get their issue fixed as quick as possible. And I just don't think people go to the right, the sports practitioners as often as they should. So hopefully this spurs people on to go, fuck, that knee I've been dealing with for the last 6 weeks is not improving. This is the time. Maybe I can get some real, improvement if I go and see someone who can help me.
Yeah, good. Croaks, how was Northern New South Wales? This wedding, there's a lot of carry on about this wedding, wasn't there, Moose?
Oh,
messaging
mate,
us
he
every
wouldn't
second
stop, would he?
day. Queensland
He
this, New
wouldn't
South
stop.
Wales this. People at the table
what?
recognise me from the
Didn't even put the
podcast.
photo,
What about
put
the
a photo
photos?
up of him making out with his wife.
Yeah.
It was like semi-sexual.
Bit
picture
inappropriate,
put up.
wasn't it?
Can you
Yeah, I
cut out
thought
all
so.
these lies that you're saying, Brady? You guys
Kids from
message
school.
me. You guys message me non-stop for about 48 hours without me even replying.
Well, we're just trying to live through you. I had a boring weekend. I'm like, Krugs, tell me what's happening. How hammered did you get? People recognising you. I was trying to get some of my Queensland
Where did you
brothers down
stay?
there for a run.
We
Yeah,
thought
so-
you might have gone missing. So stayed at another location or something.
Nobody recognised me. I even went to a park run on Saturday. No one recognised
No
me.
one recognised you at park run.
Oh, that's
and that's the
sad,
only
mate.
reason you went, to get recognised.
Because Viv went out and had a park run on Saturday because it was like 400 metres from where we were staying. So she just went out for a run and I just met her down there at the finish line. But yeah, in terms of my week, kicked off Monday. Just did a lap of Mulligan. So just over 8K, 4:32, so 37 minutes. Pretty much did the same loop again the next afternoon in 36 minutes, 4:25s. Then Wednesday we flew up to Kingscliff, so just south of Tweed Heads for the wedding. So yeah, we stayed up there at Peppers, just like through Airbnb. So yeah, it was nice. Like weather was hot, a few storms rolled through. So I didn't run Wednesday. Got up Thursday morning and like I'm really shit at getting up early, but I knew that I had to get up reasonably early if I wanted to get a run in and not absolutely die in the heat and humidity. So I started at 7:30, which is not super early.
Too late up there.
Yeah, and it was dead flat, which helps, but it was very humid. I did 10.4K, 420s. Heart rate was definitely getting high throughout the run. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it. Just, I don't know, morning, heat, humidity, the bike path. And I think we spoke about it before. It's like really weird that this path is like right on the beach, except you can't see the beach because they've just got a heap of trees between the path and the beach. So you're essentially not really seeing much at all.
Achilles?
Look, my Achilles it's manageable. It's like it might be a little bit niggly early, and then most of the run I don't notice it. But then throughout the day, it's a little bit niggly. If I push on my heel, it's still quite tender. So I reckon if all I wanted to do was go and run 10K a day, I could easily just manage it and it wouldn't be too much of an issue. Like I've been icing it regularly as well. I was a bit lazy with my calf exercises this week going away. So it's been okay. Like I probably am at the point now where it's like maybe try and increase things again to see how it reacts. And then if it's not going to improve, then I'm at the point where it's okay, go physio, go get a scan, because it's either going to be like insertional tendonitis or more bursa related, which with the bursa could potentially be that that extra growth Haglund's deformity. So if I was to get a scan and it came back that it was more bursa related, I could potentially get a cortisone for the bursa. Whereas I guess if it's more the Achilles tendonitis type stuff, that's probably more exercises related. But I've also been in no hurry because it's like, well, I knew I was going away. I'm happy just to basically sacrifice these first few weeks of the year. But now that I'm back and I'll sort of get back into a routine with school and everything, I'll try and sort of ramp things up and see how it goes. So then Thursday was the run outside. Friday, I decided to use the gym treadmill, right? Because I didn't want to get up early, and the little gym that they had was somewhat air conditioned. So I ran at 11:30 because Viv was out catching up with some of her friends because it was her friend from school that was getting married. So I did 45 minutes, averaged 4:30s on the treadmill, and then Saturday didn't run just because I felt like the 2 days of running, like my Achilles was a little bit niggly. So I'm like, well, I'll take Saturday off. Plus, I knew that I was going to be in like these dress shoes for a lot of Saturday, and I thought if I run as well as that, like it could actually cause a bit of pain by the end. And then I planned on running Sunday when we got back about 3 o'clock, but it was quite warm and I was a bit tired. And I always find when you're rolling and you have consistency and you're on a bit of a roll with momentum, you always get out the door. You always find time. You make it a priority, whereas when you look at your bars and you have 3 shitty weeks in a row, you're like, what's missing another day? Like it doesn't matter. It's funny, that mentality of like if I had been running 130k weeks and I got back on Sunday, I'm out the door for my long run Sunday afternoon. Whereas yesterday I'm like, nah, sit on the couch, watch some Netflix. So it was a week of 37k. I do plan on trying to run a little bit longer this week, so maybe get up to do a few hour runs and see how that goes, and maybe even a little bit longer Sunday. And if it deteriorates, then I think I'll go and get it looked at next week. But I'm feeling pretty unfit. But the good thing about I'm at least running enough that it's completely different to when I have 3 weeks of no running at all and then start back where everything's like achy. I don't have any of that. I just feel a bit unfit.
Yeah, still in the movement pattern.
Yeah.
But you're also stuck in this can't increase, so what's the point type vibe.
Yeah. But also I haven't tested. Like I probably should. I'm at the point now where I need to like ramp it up, because I'm like all of these runs that I'm doing, like I'm literally no more than 2 out of 10 pain sort of thing. So it's, I could run more, but I always feel at the back of my mind that if my body's not 100%, like what's the point of actually trying to run, like train properly, because you'll do it for a week and then it's just gonna flare up. So it's really hard to get motivated to just go, all right, I'm going to start sessions, I'm going to start long runs, knowing that the body's not 100%, even though I'm not in a lot of pain when I'm running.
Your body's rarely at 100% though, but I know what you mean. You're like my body's just like, I've always got tiny little things. So you might be at 95%. But do you go weeks where you're like at 100%? Yeah,
pretty much. Like I'd say that,
genetically blessed most this guy.
I would say that, I have stiffness. Like, the starts of runs will often feel really shit.
Limp out of bed in the mornings, that stuff.
But I wouldn't call that being injured. And, like a few years ago when I came off COVID and a calf injury, it was like, I was unfit, but there was nothing wrong with my body. And it was pretty much, even last year.
Work with that.
Like I didn't have too many issues. Like occasionally my hips get a bit tight, and so it really affects my efficiency. But generally, I'm at the point now where when I was younger, I used to run through a lot of pain, whereas now that I'm old and running's probably not quite as important from a performance point of view, I'm like, stuff this. I'm not going to run through anything that's more than 2 or 3 out of 10, because this is just not enjoyable.
Yeah.
Whereas years ago, I'd run 7, 8 out of 10, like just because I didn't want to miss training.
Give us more on the wedding. Big night, dance floor.
Beers. Pretty quiet for me actually. I didn't know that many people there, so it was Viv's friend from school. She's a doctor. Her husband is a doctor. Jeez. So it was like
big
70% doctors in the room.
Bit of money getting around though.
I don't know, but it was like a Mexican theme. It was up in the
Mexican themed wedding.
Yeah, it was like they had. So how they like often give people gifts like for coming to your wedding, like a little keepsake.
Yeah.
They had made up these little pottery shot glasses. They'd got them made with their initials and the date of the wedding. And when you went in to find your seat, you had to have a shot. So they're filled up with either tequila or margarita. And it was good. I didn't drink too much. Viv had quite a bit.
Good.
I was very well behaved.
Okay. Thought he might have let his hair down a bit, Moose, up there. Doesn't do it very often, this fella, on the straight and narrow.
Bit on edge too.
But the problem is, like, I'm literally pissed off one beer. So I can't even go out and have, like, a few, because if I have one, I'm on my way to a hangover. But what was interesting, have you guys ever been to a wedding where they've provided alcohol before the ceremony?
You mean at the reception?
No, before the ceremony, before they get married.
Like you get there and there's alcohol presented to you?
Yeah, before you even go in and before they're married.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have.
It's good.
That was, and I was like, because this was like 3:00 in the afternoon, and I'm just like, nah, like I'll hold off. And then one of Viv's friend's husbands just brought me over a beer, and I was like, well, I can't say no. So here I was like, and then they're like ushering everybody in, so I pretty much had to neck my first beer, which is not an ideal way to start. But yeah, it was the first time I've ever been to a wedding where they've done that.
Well, can you think back to the weddings you've been? What's the worst bit? It's the ceremony. And what are you thinking about the whole ceremony? When can we get a beer in?
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I thought it was good, but it's a bit of a risk for lightweights like myself. May knock back a couple if you get there early and you're a bit loose in the ceremony.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Warm afternoon too. Warm afternoon.
Fairly warm.
Best part of a wedding is that the bit between the ceremony and the reception. When you just go to the local pub, it's just like everyone's knocking them back real quick.
You're in your suit.
Whole day's ahead of you. Yeah.
Had on the flight
home, you got to pay
home,
for them there.
Jared Croker. You guys would know who Jared Croker is.
NRL player, isn't he?
Yeah, he was captain of the Raiders for a long time. So him and his family were on the flight because I think he was up for Todd Carney, who was another rugby league player's wedding on the weekend. So that's pretty cool.
Introduce yourself?
Nah. I met him once before out at Stromlo. They were doing a running session out there pre-season, and I met him briefly there.
Good.
So, NRL, what is this Todd? Why do I know the name Todd Carney?
Yeah, Todd Carney was the guy that got in the
naughty boy.
Yeah, he was the naughty boy.
Didn't he drink his own piss or something? Haven't we spoken about this?
No, we haven't, but that's him.
I've definitely spoken about it on, and I don't know if it was on another podcast or I listened to somebody else talking about it.
Yeah, he was at the urinal one night, and they've got images of him just pissing into his own mouth.
About it? Yeah, it was all over the paper.
Great rugby league player though. I think he won the Dally M one year playing for the Roosters. Yeah.
Where do you sit? Considering you're on the border there, Brady, where do you sit between the NRL fans and the AFL fans? Like, what are we seeing there?
Like everything in where I am on the border, it's just very Victorian based. No one follows. Some people maybe Melbourne Storm. I think Melbourne Storm got a lot of followers in Shepparton. It's about an hour away, but yeah, no one's doing NRL stuff here. Bit of touch rugby on a Monday night, bit of social touch rugby, but other than that, nothing. It's all AFL. Anyway, boys, I'm going to go through my week. It's been getting down a few rabbit holes, but I filled the first 37 minutes, so well done. Monday, 70 minutes, real easy, 4:45 pace. Mondays at the moment, coming back from, trying to rebuild some fitness, wedged in between Sunday and Tuesday. So you really got to take them easy. Otherwise, I'm not ready for my workout on Tuesday. And it's just like super, super slow. 125, 130 heart rate, 4:45s. You'd never do it, Croaks, but I reckon it's good for you on a Monday. Active recovery, I'm calling it. Got out for 30 minutes that afternoon, 5:01 pace, was 34 degrees, so took it super easy. Tuesday, did some track work with Archie, did 18 400s off 45 seconds walk between. Track was pretty wet, so we kind of hit similar times we've been hitting for the last few weeks, like 71, 72s, but just that slippage, and there's nothing worse, grass track. You can hear that slosh sound as you're running. Every step you're kind of losing a bit. So I feel like we had to work a bit harder than we should have, maybe for 71, 72s, but we got it done. Then I changed into spikes, boys, and we did a 1K effort. And the way I described this to Archie was we want to run 1K hard, but not all out. So think like the 4th K of a 5K race. So your legs are heavy, they're full from the 400 meter reps. You want to keep it solid, but you don't want to absolutely rinse yourself. And we ran 256, which I thought was pretty good. Spikes definitely felt like bare feet, but just way more grip.
Why'd you put them on?
I would have thought you'd go quicker than that.
Well, this is grass, wet track moose. And this is end of a workout.
I actually looked at this and I couldn't work out what the workout was. So I looked at the title and I thought 18 by 400 / 1K. And I'm thinking...
Yeah, but the slash separate.
Did he do a 1K jog at some point? Or did he do 400 and then a 1K, 18 of them?
I should have written 45 seconds recovery in there.
Yeah, so I would have gone 18 times 400, then in brackets 45 seconds rest, and then 1K.
Then slash 1K?
No.
Probably just comma 1K.
No, because
Or
then
1K after.
it means you're doing 18 400s and Ks.
Nah.
Talk us through why you did it.
And why you put on spikes?
I want to put on spikes. I'm tempted to do a track race, 2 track races actually. My friends at the Handicap League, they've been in contact about potentially doing a track race, boys. So I've thought maybe I'll just see how my legs go in spikes, and also that Bendigo 5K Frenzy's coming up in a couple of weeks, and I'm like, and I've seen the field. Should see the field, Moose. Back when me and you used to win that thing, jeez, it was.
I don't think we've ever won it, either of us.
Yeah, but we were close to winning it, weren't we? 1 year.
Well, I was second.
So yeah, there you go. So,
What were you?
8th.
8th.
I don't know. I had a
You have some shockers, don't you?
Yeah, I have good ones or shockers, nothing in between. No, I don't think I was 8th. Maybe I was 8th. It's a pretty good field one night. But anyway, I've seen the field for this year and it's looking real good. So I was thinking maybe it's like next Friday night, and if the weather's looking good and I have the energy after work, I might go down there and run a 5K on the track, see if I can break 15 minutes. Probably get lapped with a field of guys I've seen on this start list already. So that's why I did that.
Interesting.
But nah,
What? Yeah,
256 on an all-weather track would be 254.
Yeah, maybe.
Remember,
But
it
you've
wasn't.
given-
Remember, it wasn't an all-out. It was a strong K. I'm going to describe it as.
Yeah, I guess after 18 fours, I'll pay it.
Dropped Archie at like 120 to go, and like I looked back and put the brakes on. Like, come on, come up with me. Like, this isn't like put the nails in here. This is like run strong together.
Love you mentioned that on the podcast.
Yeah, and I'm sure he would have loved you just like turning around, waving him through. Come on, keep up with me. Come on.
He was doing this real weird thing because we took in turns to do reps. So like I would run 72, and that's what we're aiming for, 72s, and then he would run 71. And pretty much like I'd have to go a bit harder to keep up with him. But then the next one I would run 72 and drop him, and he'd run 73. Which I'm like, but then he'd just do the next one in 71. And I'm like, if you can do 71s, why can't you keep up with me running 72s?
So Brady, like when someone is running behind you, they start their watch like a second later. So he was probably running 72s as
No,
well.
I'd literally drop him in the home straight. Like I'd notice that he would drop back.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, kids these days. Did 90 minutes on Wednesday, 4:34 pace. Been reading Tim Winton's new book, and then I've been listening to the audio book of it as well. So I just listened to an audio book for the whole 90 minutes. You guys would appreciate that. Just getting lost in the world of fiction, fellas. Fan of Tim Winton. Moose is a surfer, isn't he?
Yeah, I did used to. Did he write that Lockie?
Leonard.
Lockie Leonard? Was
I
that
think he
Tim
did,
Winton?
yeah. That was a
Yeah.
high school book, wasn't it?
Yeah, loved that book. That was just growing up, Lockie Leonard was like, that was the character that resonated most with me out of any other character from any book or story or anything.
I don't think I've ever read it, but didn't it have like a sex scene in it?
Oh yeah.
Or swore or something like that? It was like controversial back
I reckon
when we were in high school.
I reckon there was a sex scene at some point. Maybe he was like, maybe I was 12 or so. Let me do some research on this and you keep going.
I feel like there was some kind of controversy. Well, not controversy. It was just a bit raunchy back in the day when you borrowed that from the library.
Yeah, but you're also a teenage kid.
Yeah. You're
Right.
allowed to borrow it.
Yeah. So there was a TV series, but where's the book from?
Yeah. Don't think I've read it, but I didn't have that on my bingo card tonight, talking about
Lockie Leonard.
Lockie Leonard.
Let me just tell. Oh, okay. So 91, it came out. Gee, that's a while ago.
Oh, it was out for a while before we turned teenagers.
I was 5.
Anyway.
Croaks was 26. So he probably remembers teaching it at school.
I was 11.
30 minutes that afternoon at 4:34s. Thursday, 70 minutes in strides, and then 30 minutes in the afternoon. Friday, boys, real page turner. Yeah, I'm going to describe a feeling to you, which I hope you can resonate with. Maybe not at the moment with you two, but you know when you do a workout, and I've been struggling with my thresholds. Maybe I haven't been like too honest with it on the podcast the last month, but like all my thresholds have been at like 320 pace, and they've felt like 310 pace. And when I've been looking down at my wrist, I've been like, far out, like 320s for like 1K threshold reps, or like 5-minute reps. And I'm just like, this is killing my confidence because I'm like, this is my marathon pace. Like I should be able to do this with the brakes on. And then Friday, finally, I did a workout. I did 4 sets of 2K, 1K with 90 seconds jog between the 2K and 60 seconds jog between the 1K.
So 4 by 2K and then you did 1K at the end?
No. So I did 2K, 90 seconds jog, 1K, 60 seconds jog. Repeat 4 times. So 12K worth of work. You
read this title and then it's like the same as format that you wrote the other one.
It's not rocket science, is it? 4 times. How do I write it?
Yeah, because you did the slash 1K, so it was almost as if you did 4 times 2K and then you did 1K at the end, because that's the way that you wrote your track session. Ugh. You did 18 times 400, and then you went slash 1K.
Strava police are out tonight. I'm sorry, fellas.
No, I mean, we're trying to follow your training. You're making it difficult.
Yeah. Sorry. I mean, aren't you a coach, mate? How many times do your athletes make a mistake of their session because of the way you've written it?
No, I would have written this as 4 sets in their final surge program, I think. But yeah, that's the workout I did. So 12K all up, and I was like, I was going through some of the first Ks of the 2K and like 3:14, and I'm just like, chuck the brakes on, Brady. This is all good. Like that, just when you feel a bit of fitness coming in, and it could have been because the temperature was like 12 degrees, and I've been doing all these workouts in 20. So it could have just been the difference between the weather. Or it could have just been like, hey, I've done the time at that slower pace and now my fitness is starting to turn a corner a bit. So, and initially I was like, if I'm cooked after 3 sets of this, like 9K worth of work, that's a good workout. But I got to the end of the third one and I'm like, nah, I can go another set for sure. So I was really, really happy with that one. Saturday did 70 minutes, 4:32s, and then Sunday 32K, 4:11 pace, bit of croaker pace in here, Brad. That's when you know you're seeing a bit of fitness. Archie for a bit. Chris McTaggart was in town on the bike. Felt good. Heart rate average 139, so probably getting a bit closer to like the higher end of what I'd like to be easy jogging at, but bit flat out there. Should we thank some Patreon supporters? Who you got, Croaks?
Oh, let me just bring it up. We've got Craig Wolves, which based on email addresses, potentially he's known as the Woolsinator. And I think he lives around Point Cook, Altona area in Melbourne. He's run 16:38 at the Point Cook Park Run, 34:57 at last year's Run Pre 10K, and 75:37 at the 2023 Gold Coast Half Marathon. On his Strava, he's got a photo of him and Moose from 2003 Gold Coast. I don't know if you remember that, Moose. Probably not, because I'm sure you would have been bombarded with lots of people that year.
That was the year we had a competition, catch moose in the wild, and you go into the draw to win a prize.
So there's a photo there, and then there's another photo where it looks like his family. He's taken a photo, I think, of his family with Leanne Pompiani. So, and also looks like he does a little bit of some CrossFit competitions in the past, based on what I saw on the Strava photos as well. So thanks for your support, Craig.
On you, Craig, for your support. Moose, who you got?
I have Maurice Kelter, who lives in Sydney, but might be Irish. How do you come to that conclusion, Croaks?
Detective work. No, I think it was something on his. Oh, actually, no, it might have been through his LinkedIn.
Oh, you're going deep.
Yeah.
He said all of his PBs last year. So he's run 16:18 at the New South Wales 5K Champs community race, 33:53 at the Sydney 10. Oh, do we trust that still? No, they got it measured.
It's all legit now.
All good. Last year, okay, we'll pay that then. 74:42 at the New South Wales Half Marathon Champs, and 2:35 at Gold Coast Marathon. Last year was a good year. Runs with Run Crew. Guessing Run Crew only have a Sydney group? More than one group?
So. Benny does some stuff in the Blue Mountains too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
They could go interstate, maybe. Run
franchise
Crew.
It, you reckon?
Yeah, get big.
Surf Coast location.
Looking for something down here.
Looking for something. Thanks, Maurice, for your support of the Inside Running podcast. I'm going to thank Chris Plazinga. Looks like he lives in Doreen in Victoria. Has a 5K time trial best of 18:45. He also ran 86:55 at the 2023 Melbourne Half Marathon and 3:13 at last year's Melbourne Marathon on the windy day, boys, from Elwood. Gale force winds on the way home there, so well done, Chris. Since Melbourne Marathon, though, pretty quiet on his Strava, Croaks tells me, so we hope that Chris is all good there. Maybe just gone private, trying to lessen the noise, keep the fans away. Hopefully, Chris, you haven't had a long-term injury since October 13th was that race. So thank you to all our Patreon supporters for your support of the Inside Running Podcast.
Maurice Craig.
If you like what we do, you can support us at patreon.com/Inside Running Podcast. A couple of different levels there. If you just think our content, I guess, for the month is worth $5, you can support us there to keep the show alive every week. If you want bonus content, early releases, there's also options for that as well. The UK boys, get this, meant to do one episode a month, meant to do it last week, couldn't make it work. Had to change their plans. I'm like, boys, this is why your podcast failed in the first place. Now I'm giving you one a month and you can't make it work. So they will be on this week, which does mean they're also hitting this week. Also is going to be the Road to Berlin boys of Paddy Stowe, Jimmy Friend and Rob Wilson. So there'll be 2 bonus episodes coming out this week.
You know what you need from those UK boys? Two this month.
Pardon? Two
this month.
Make up for it, you reckon? Bits happening in the UK running scene as well, so I'm looking forward to. I want them to talk about why is everyone leaving Adidas moose in the UK? Do you know?
Oh, I'm not across.
You got anything on that?
Mate.
No, all their marathoners are leaving Adidas, so I want a bit of that kind of stuff.
Who's taking them? Puma, I saw.
Puma. Even like US, they're losing like Drew Hunter to Asics. That's a pretty big deal.
Yep.
Like, yeah, Adidas seem to be losing a few. And I don't know if I haven't seen that they've announced anyone. And then maybe Shoe Geeks next week, Moose. Ask us anything on Patreon. Somewhere like that, which would be good.
Yeah, we got the wives coming up too, remember?
Shoe Geek wives.
Yeah, Shoe Geek wives. They're going to get on.
Yeah, that's a general release though. The Patreon asks you everything though. We'll get that rolling as well.
you're going to get Bree and I together. That'll be a real interesting one.
What time does Pia go to bed? Do you reckon you can make that work, you two?
Yeah, I reckon we could.
Kitchen table?
Pia's down 7:30. We could do that.
Well, the content be there for you. Just be answering questions.
What about live show? What about get people in?
You can do it if you want. We have that option to stream it live.
Stream it live. Just take questions as they come in.
If they want.
Non-cuttable.
No prep time either. Yeah, it's up to you. It's your show. Anyway,
no, I don't like that.
Running news, boys.
Bit of pressure on that.
Shout out to Axel Coffee for bringing this week's race results. Head to axelcoffee.com.au for 20% off your first order using the code IRP20. Take it away, Croaks, the ACT champs.
Yeah, so it was on over the weekend. Normally a pretty good meet, so I'm just going to cover the 800s and the 1500s. So Daniel Williams, do you remember him, boys? Won Zatopek, 17-year-old from up Byron Bayway.
Byron Bayway, yeah. Longer shorts. He had on his Zatopek, yeah.
So he won down in Zatopek, I think 147 high. So he ran a new PB here to win, 147.08, beating Mason Cohen in 148.14. So this is pretty solid for a 17-year-old. Jaylah Hancock-Cameron, she got the win in the women's, 204.24, beating Ellie Sanford in 204.57. And then the 1500 was on Sunday night. Archie Ridgeway, he got the win in 345.4, beating Oliver Neat in 346.16. And Jaylah Hancock-Cameron, she did the double, winning in 414.11, beating Georgia Whincup in 416. So, probably not like in previous years, like last year, Cam and Peyton Craig were in the 800. So probably not quite as strong a field in the distance, but the sprints were pretty much a who's who of the sprinting world was there, or the Australians anyway. I think it was an Aussie record in the 60 metres. So anyway, that was that one. Next bit of news for me is the Dr. Sanders Scorcher indoor meet in New York. So Cam Myers made his indoor racing debut, had never stepped foot on an indoor track before, never done a training session, and he won the elite mile in a new under-20 world indoor record, or short course record, running 353.12. The old record was 355 by German Fernandez. Adam Fogg was third in the race in 353.49, and another Aussie, Adam Spencer, was eighth in 358. So Cam will now run the Millrose Games, want to make a mile. And because this race, he basically let the pacemaker go a little bit. Pacemaker got a bit of a gap. Nobody went with it. So he went around, got on the pacemaker. Pacemaker stepped off. Cam basically stayed on the front and then was able to hold them all off. So I know he wasn't overly happy with the time, but the way that it was run, he gets to sit on the back of your Kerrs and your Negooses and, potentially breaks 350 at Millrose, I reckon.
Bit hard on himself too, isn't he, Croaks? Like his post-race interview, not happy, just broke the world record by 2 seconds, which I love. This is why this guy's standards are so high. And he does not, he doesn't want to be a big fish in a small pond. He's just like, fucking throw me at it. I'm going to dominate the world. I'm like, it's not really a hot take, but like, I think Cam Myers will be our greatest ever middle distance runner ever because of his mentality. If he stays injury free, all those kind of things. It's like, and no shit, he's like projected to go that way. But I think he has all the tools.
You're talking better than Herb Elliott?
Ron Clark, Herb Elliott, Craig Mottram, Stewie McSwain, Ollie Hoare, whoever else you want to put in there. I think the way...
Herb Elliott unbeaten over 15.
Different era, so very hard to compare. But very... I think he's got all the tools. And he can turn the pace up without looking like... Jakob does exactly the same thing. So he increases the pace without changing his technique, and you don't notice him doing it until you look at the guys behind him and they're cooked and their arms and legs are going everywhere. Like, yeah. And after that interview with him, Croaks, I am all in on Cam Myers.
Yeah. I love as well that he's not, as you said, he doesn't get excited about these under 20 or junior sort of records, which almost flips the script. Like in the past, we've had so many like good juniors that maybe get like, not into themselves, but like hyped up about the times that they're running for juniors. But he's like, nah, I don't care about those. Like, I want to be compared to the best in the world, regardless of age groups, which, does then make him seem like he's hard on himself. But I guess that's a sign of what the champion mentality. And
his 2 recent races, this and that Zatopek 3K, when the pacer drops, he takes it, which is the hard way to race. Like he could sit back and bitch kick these things. But he's like, I'll take in the middle and I'll still beat you.
But I think based on that interview, like, he said he doesn't get nervous. So like, and the way that he races indicates he doesn't get nervous. He's like, I don't care. I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah, could be big things coming, I reckon. Watch him in the next couple of years. With Australian marathons selling out in record time in 2025, the McLaren Vale Marathon has your back. Choose from the full marathon, half marathon, 10K, 5K or free kids dash. There's a run for everyone at South Australia's premier marathon event. This year's race has moved to the 1st of June, so you'll enjoy slightly cooler training block than for an earlier autumn race. The event also has moved to a new venue in the heart of McLaren Vale to bring you a more vibrant atmosphere around the race start and finish, and course improvements will see all distances run on 100% sealed roads through the vines with less elevation change than in previous years. There will also be paces to help you hit your target time in the marathon and the half marathon, and the day will also feature the Athletic South Australia 10K Road Running Championships, so there is sure to be some hot racing at McLaren Vale. As well as its world-class wineries, the region boasts pristine beaches, fine dining, forest and trails, art galleries and other attractions to explore. Come for a run and explore so much more. Head to mclarenvalemarathon.com.au for race information and to register. I'll take you to Victoria, boys. Vic Milers Club. Amy Robinson won this. You watch this race? She absolutely smashed him. She won by 100 metres. She ran 4:12, 64-second first lap. She actually ran the first lap quicker than the men's 1500. They went through in 66. So in the A grade, so they were mucking around. I'm not sure what they were doing because Vic Milers Club's all about running fast. But yeah, she had a pace for the first 500, just dominant. You couldn't even see anyone else in the screen. So huge run from her there. Adam Goddard won the men's in 3:49.8 after they were dawdling early. And this would be interesting, Moose. I wonder if like a Len Johnson or Chris Wardlaw will be able to fact check this for us because they were both on the stream, which I kind of love because you turn into this stream. And I feel like the quality of the stream's gone down this year with the new provider. microphone. You can hardly hear it. There's music playing in the background. But then you look at the start line and you just see Chris Wardlaw standing there with he's got his Nike hat on or jumper, and he's just still loves athletics, which I really, really love. And then I think you got Len Johnson moving the numbers at the finish line, how many laps to go. So the B race was quicker than the A race at Vic Milers Club. Surely that's never happened before.
Oh, I reckon it would have.
You
back in
reckon?
the day?
Oh.
Yeah, I reckon you would. I reckon someone would have been misseated, came out and thought, "Fuck it, I'm going to show him." And then you get that same setup that this race had, with no one really taking the pace.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Don't know if the depth has been there though. Like I feel like we've got big depth now, where maybe the 15th or 16th seeded guy is actually still a bloody good runner. Anyway, Alexander Cameron Smith, he won the B race in 3:49.7. So he got the fastest time of the night. 800, Lucy Delbridge won that in 2:09. And then Bob Abra... Oh, jeez. How do I pronounce that, boys?
Abdurrahman.
Abdurrahman. He got the win in the men's in 1:51. And then my other bit of news for this week was Osaka half marathon. Tara Palm was over there. She ran a PB of 70:55 for 8th in that race. Do we know if she's running Osaka marathon as well?
I think she might be.
So she's coming back to Adelaide, then going back there in 4 weeks. I guess it's easy to get to Japan and back, or she's staying over there.
I'll have a look. I've got a start list here for the elite women that Dave Tarbottom sent through, but I don't think it's on there.
You have a look at that, Moose, while you take us to South Australia.
Yeah, South Australia. There was a very hot men's race. Not temperature, but Adam Goddard running 8:01, beat Isaac Hayne 8:05. Jacob Cox third, 8:08. 10 people under 8:20. So good signs for male distance running depth in the men's over there. Obviously the males are in the men's race, but in the women's, I think there was now you might want to fact check me here, but Isabel Hume won in 9:26. She beat Emily Wass in 10:10. Now I think Isabel might be 14 years old or something. Can someone get a little date on that off a World Athletics profile? Because pretty good going. Let me check. I know Nitta, who's a big fan of junior athletics. He actually sent me this fact. I just questioned him because I had a bit of a beef with him when he posted his Strava, and there was 3 guys in the over 35.
Born 96, Moose.
What's that? Do the math for me, mate. I'm not that clever.
No, that's 28, isn't it?
What's he on about then?
Yeah,
oh, no.
Really
so, sorry.
You up here.
Yeah. The girl. So, I reckon you've been stitched up by some results here. So, the girl who came second, maybe not listed in the results because she's under 18.
Oh, yeah. South Australia, by memory, when I used to do the results croaks, their website is hard to understand. Athletics South Australia.
I'm on that link now. So what do you reckon? The women's under 18 3K.
Yeah, it says.
Here we go. Hannah Torner.
What'd she run?
9:44.
Yeah, well, that would make her second.
That's under 18. Yeah. How do you spell it? TOURNEUR.
No, because what he's told me here is he said if you check the Open women, it doesn't have the winner on the list because she was under 15s. Actually, the girl who came second was also not listed because she's under 18.
Here we
go.
Was born in 2008.
So under 15, Amelia.
Making a real mess of this.
Amelia Sheridan, 9:30.08.
Yeah, so she was second, obviously. Now, is this not crazy that the results get spread out into age groups when they're in the same race? This is what
State
annoys
championship
me.
too, isn't it?
Yeah, this doesn't make sense to me because I think you need, if you're going to have the first race, we'll call it the A race, you need to have everyone racing in the same competition.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Yeah, it just turns into a mess.
And I would have thought as an under 15, even though they're under 15, it's if they're good in, well, were they actually all in the same race, and then the results have just been split up?
No, they were in the same race.
Yeah, I thought moves the same.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to get information out of that. So there was also a big track race over in New Zealand at the Cook's Classic Mile. We've often had runners go over there and start their season, I guess you'd call it. But Lyndon Hall, she won the women's easily, 4:35 mile. So that's not super fast.
It's not super quick, and she won by a lot.
4 seconds from Izzy Thornton Bott. Sam Tanner, the men's race was a bit quicker. So Sam Tanner, he ran 3:55.75 to win from Jack Bruce, which I thought was a fantastic run from Jack Bruce to run 3:56.9. Yeah. You would have thought that Jack, having seemingly moved, like getting older, generally the rule is you go longer. But as he's sort of got older, he's running faster. He's run 3:56 for the mile, which is good going. And Jared Clifford just missed out on breaking 4 minutes by running 4 minutes flat, 0.45. There was a world record in the race. Well, I think an age group. They have world records for 15-year-olds, or is it best? World best.
Yeah, it's like world best. Like the best time by a 15-year-old.
Yeah, so the best time ever by a 15-year-old, which has beaten people like Cam Myers and Jakob and all those other junior freaks. Sam Ruth ran 4:01.72 as a 15-year-old. So keep an eye on that name. Croaks, you love kids running fast. Like, we've had this conversation before, but you couldn't wait to get on and tell the boys about this.
Can somebody go back and listen to previous podcasts where I've said we shouldn't get excited about juniors?
Yeah, no, I reckon it made fast as ever. Come on, show some love.
Yeah, but like this is where the Cam Myers would be saying, well, I don't want to be compared to other 15-year-olds. I want to be compared to the best in the world, and they're running 3:46.
He's 15. Let him be a 15-year-old.
Being 15 is different than being 19.
But
How old's Cam? 18.
But Cam was like that when he was 16. Cam was like, I don't care. Like, I basically just wanted to be as good as race everybody else. Still a great run.
You know, Craig Kirkwood coached them, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's a good bloke.
Along with Sam Tanner.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing. He's got Sam through there.
And both of his parents were, like, elite as well. Ben Ruth.
Okay, yeah. His dad was in the same race, wasn't he? Or that 3K, that fast one?
What was that?
I was just saying, I reckon when he ran that real fast 3K, his dad was in the same race. Or maybe it was the same meet. Like, it was pretty cool that him and his dad were both running a 3K on the same night.
Yeah. And I think it's Jessica Ruth. She was like, what did she run? 30. Yeah, just looking at her personal best here. 9:08 3K. I think she's running quicker than that though.
His dad ran 8:54 when Sam ran 8:09 as a 15-year-old.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
It's a good father-son moment, isn't it?
Yeah, that is cool.
That's some news over there in New Zealand. You guys going to have an argument about that, Moose? I feel like you're about to go, Croaks, about something there.
You know, what's this bloke to do? All he does is go out and run, and Croaks is sledging him. You know, he's not putting himself out there. I think you're allowed to run fast as a kid, and we're allowed to celebrate it, Croaks.
I'm not sledging him.
Oh, it sounds like
it.
I was defending myself when you said that I get really excited about juniors running fast.
Sarcasm, mate. You've heard of that? When you say something that's actually like the opposite of what you...
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Thank you. Thanks to Axel Coffee for bringing us that. Run and use the discount code at axelcoffee.com.au. The code is IRP20 to get 20% off your first order. Whispers, fellas. Whispers/talking points. I got these in here. I'm going to get your questions on a few things. Just keep a watch on Rose Davies. A couple people in my DMs today mentioning she hasn't uploaded anything on Strava since Jan 18th. Hope there's not an injury there. We'll just wait and see. Clayton Young, if you've got some spare time, this isn't a whisper. This is just a talking point. Watch his YouTube videos. Best running YouTuber in the game at the moment, Croaks. I know you like enjoying a bit of YouTube content. Some very good footage. His video today was really good. Talking about YouTube, where we at with Flowtrack doing the Shelby Houlihan documentary. Comes out Feb 3rd. not well received in the comments. They did a workout Wednesday video with her that they released last week, and she's training hard. Like, she's doing workouts. I couldn't do the workouts.
She's a pro runner still.
Yeah, well, I don't think she is. I don't think she couldn't be coached and she couldn't have a contract. I don't think.
When's her time up? She back.
It's up. It's up. She's racing soon. She was saying
so
how she's trying to get in races.
How did she make money for the last 4 years?
Don't know. She did start like GoFundMe real early, but I think that was to take her case to Cass. Like, she's still in full Nike stuff, but I was listening to Morgan McDonald and Ollie Hoare talk about it, and they were saying that she hasn't got a group yet, and like what brand would take her on. But what do you think about the publicity? Because I kind of get it from Flow Track. It's like, it's going to get views. It's going to get people talking about it. We're in that attention.
I don't like it.
It's like controversial, so it like gets clicks.
It takes, I mean, they're basically taking all their resources and put it into someone who's a proven cheater versus putting their resources into someone who's clean and supported the sport in the right way. Like, when was the last documentary they did? Can you remember? Big Flow Track doco.
Oh, going back, aren't we? I haven't paid too much attention to Flow Track stuff for a while, but like, remember the old like Driven and stuff?
Oh, there's some good stuff on there. That's right. But that
was a good
let's
one.
not go down that rabbit hole, because we'll reminisce too much. But it's like, they've taken someone who has been caught for taking drugs, got found guilty, got banned for 4 years, when there's people out there who haven't done that are not getting the same attention as what Shelby is. And coupled with that, I think coming back from a doping ban, we just don't know how much... Oh, well, I think we do know, actually, how much doping can help athletes in the future as well. That's one thing that doesn't get talked about. Like, there's the whole do your crime, do the time thing, but it doesn't... It's a bit of an unknown. Well, I guess it depends what drugs they were taking, but some of them have benefits that have allowed them to train at a high level, contributing to future high level of training in the future. And also, they've been able to, like, no one stopped her running for 4 years. She could essentially be out there running at the same level she was for 4 years, even more. We don't know if she's been drug tested or not while you're on the ban.
Those boys were saying that she has been. They looked it up and it said like something like 14 to 16 times, like over a 2-year period, she was tested.
Over 2 years, not 4 years.
I think it was 2 years they were talking about.
So you still,
that was a story that they'd heard. So this is like fourth hand now by the time I'm telling it to you.
Yeah, okay.
They're like, we heard she got tested. But I think it's readily available in the US who's been tested how many times.
Yeah, right. Well, anyway, I don't like it. I reckon they could have done better things with that, focused on some cleaner athletes.
Juniors, mate. Should have focused on a few juniors.
Yeah, I mean, imagine seeing what that 15-year-old does in training, folks.
I heard he doesn't run much, actually. Does a bit on the bike.
Does he?
Yeah.
Big cross-training.
Yeah.
Jess Stenson, Tokyo Marathon, boys. It's going to come around pretty quick. I think it's maybe 4 or 5 weeks this weekend.
So I was right. Or is that confirmed?
I was right with that one last week.
Confirmed.
When you threw it out there. Remember you said a big name's going to announce a marathon soon? And I said Jess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tokyo announced it before she did, so I wonder if she had to wait. But it was in there. You know how they do like the booklets, Tokyo, and then she announced it the day after. So that's exciting. We weren't really sure. Had to pull out of what'd she pull out of Valencia end of last year. So it must be fit. Tokyo's flat. It's fast. Everyone said get Jess Stenson on a flat marathon course.
That's true.
It could be
time to go.
Izzy Bat Doyle to Nagoya as well. She'll also put that on her Instagram. So her and Leanne, big head-to-head brewing there. Big head-to-head.
They'll be right at the front of the race too. Like there'll be competition probably for the win, if not podium if not win. So it'd be good to watch front pack two of our heaviest hitters just trading blows.
You don't think there'll be a few girls going faster though, Moose? Isn't this like a trial for their team? Surely there's a few like 220 girls.
You don't think Izzy's trying to run 220?
Well, yeah, but you think Leanne's going to go out at 220?
Leanne's a beast on the roads, maybe for debut.
Pretty competitive, Leanne.
Isn't she training the house down too, Croaks? Didn't you do like 20k the other day?
She's running big miles.
4x5k.
Cooked Izzy at Melbourne half too. Remember that? Like, she's not going to just sit back and let Izzy run off the front and think, oh, she's better than me.
Yeah.
We're not going to see that happen.
No, but I think, first marathon, you probably want to have somewhat of a positive, like you want to, be a little bit cautious.
She looks after the Canberra,
Oh, yeah.
the Canberra crew, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I'm thinking Leanne gets a big rush of blood on the start line. Adrenaline's pumping. Like that
She's
first K.
she's a competitor.
Oh, she's
Feels easy.
yeah.
She's a real
First K.
competitor.
But who goes in favourite then out of those two in this marathon?
Well,
Izzy.
Izzy.
But
However-
geez, Izzy has a bad day, and all of a sudden Leanne goes past her at 32k. Leanne gets a bit of a pep in her step and starts running 3:15s.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
2:21, 2:22.
Leanne will run a quick marathon at some point. It's just who knows whether it's going to be straight off the bat.
She's been dialing in with a nutrition
Very
coach.
rarely.
Jeff Hunt's probably the only guy that I know who his first marathon is his PB.
2:11
Jack
flat.
Rayner?
Well, I think Jack will end up running faster than... No, Jack's run quicker than what his debut.
Did he? Did he run?
Yeah, because that was 2:11 something for Jack. Jack's run quicker than that, hasn't he? He's run 2:10.
Oh, we had this chat on the monthly 3 weeks ago.
reckon he
And I
has.
can't
I'll have a
even
look.
remember.
I'm sure he's run quicker than his
First, he's
his
2:11.
debut.
His first one was 2:11.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just over though, wasn't it? Wasn't Brett 2:10 high and Brett was like 2:11 low? Anyway, watch that space. Boys, this come up in the message chat though. Tried to win a few more slabs off Jordan Donnelly. Not sure if I'm going to take this bet or not. Does the Australian women's marathon record go down this year? You got Leanne, you got a fit Jess, you've got Izzy, Jen's probably out with pregnancy. Like, it's worth taking, isn't it?
I'm taking that bet if I was you.
Under or over? It's going to get broken or not?
Over. Doesn't make it. Doesn't get done.
Okay.
Can't get it done.
Croaks?
Yeah, it's tough. Oh, it's a tough one. I think if Izzy stays injury free for the whole year and gets another shot at Valencia, and I also think Jess, I think some of Jess's championship races that she's done over the last few years, so the Olympics and the Commonwealth Games, obviously they haven't been flat courses, but the shape that she was in for those, I think she would have to go very, very close. Tokyo, I guess Tokyo's a bit of an unknown whether she's been back long enough to be in her best shape for Tokyo, but for her next one, which, later in the year, if she gets to Valencia, there's very good chance.
Sinead could break her own record. We don't know what Sinead's doing. You'd expect her to race twice this year. Imagine that. Come back from pulling out of the Olympics and just go, you know what, I'm going to go fucking destroy the Australian record now.
So Moose, you don't think it gets broken this year?
I don't think so, nah. And I look, no, I didn't say that. I said I would take that bet. I would take that bet because I think we talk about Australian records on here willy-nilly, and I think that no one's really come close to Sinead's record yet. Not really after she ran it. We've had some very big races at Valencia with girls who are fit, and they haven't come close to it. So I'm saying no. Brady, let's bet on it.
People did go back and listen to that bet. I think I might have got away with one, Croaks.
Oh, fuck off.
I think people are going, yeah, Brady didn't really confirm that bet.
I love that.
I'm sucking on here, Moose.
Start of the episode, you crack open a 4X.
4X that Moose paid for. Leave it with me, Moose. I'm going to crunch some more numbers to see if I'll take that bet or not. I'll let you know the week before Tokyo. Moose on the loose, what do you got?
Oh, yeah. So this has sort of been an ongoing thing, but I reckon it's starting to come to a head. And it's a very confusing situation for anyone who's running on the track recently. But the spike rulings, and we know what they are, 20 millimeters is the maximum allowed for a pair of spikes on the track running in a race. And there's a list of shoes on the website. There's a shoe checker, I guess it is. I mean, I just tried to check one then to put in the on 10,000 meter spike, and it's not even on the list. So I couldn't even see if that was legal or not. So, I mean, already it didn't work for me because we sell that spike. I know it's not legal, but it actually doesn't have it listed on the compliant shoe list. So already a flaw.
Doesn't that just mean it's not legal then if it's not on the list?
Well, there's a lot of spikes on here that are not legal.
Oh, but they've still got them on there.
And
it
they've
says
got
not
them on
legal.
here? Yeah,
okay.
that's right. Yeah. So, like most of them, a lot of shoes on here that are not legal. Like if I go into the Puma one, some of these Distance Nitro Elite Plus. So yeah, there's spikes on here that aren't legal, and they're listed as no. But anyway, it happened at two recent races. One was in New South Wales. One of the athletes in the A race, they've got to run by these compliant laws because this is a championship race. New South Wales Championships in the A grade, the open category. The official comes around and was looking at the spikes on all the start lines, and this is the sort of level of education we're talking about here. Is he looks at this athlete's spike and goes, they look too big. Nike Dragonfly, right? There's fucking 15 other people in the race with the same spike. And the athlete goes, no, they're not. And he goes, oh, okay then, and walks off. Like this, it's just a bit comical, actually, the level of spikes that we're talking about. Like the level of like this approach that we're taking to enforcing this rule. We're giving officials that don't really have any idea on what spikes are, like which spike shoes are. They could come out with a full list. They could have a massive book of them, but they still don't know what the spike is that is on the athlete's foot. And it's very easy to sort of, if you want to, confuse people around that as well.
And they shouldn't have to. They're like volunteers and stuff. They shouldn't have to learn 15 different spikes models.
Yeah, so don't, and just assume that everyone's playing by the rules. Don't go along and eyeball something on the start line and say, oh, that's too big.
Yeah.
Because that's unbelievable. What they've done here is they've given these officials who often do enjoy a little bit of power, they've given them the power to start to take a little bit of liberty with this, and we're going to see some crazy shit happening.
Well, I'm glad that official didn't go the other way and say, nah, they look too big, you're off, you're out. And he was wearing Dragonflies. It was good that he actually did just walk away.
Do you know what, though? That athlete had this extra inner sole inside the shoe that made it like an extra 10 mil higher. So, I'm not sure the
Can you do
laws
that?
around that. I don't know. I don't know.
Does anybody know the reason why they changed? Because remember there was a period there where people had the 4% shoes
sent all my PBs on the track.
But then they had the spike plate on a 4%. And so, people were setting PBs, Brady, and running times that were counted in these super shoes. Like, why have they then changed it and then changed it again?
Well, why can you do it on the road and not the track? Yeah. That's what I don't get.
I don't know. I reckon they should just open it up, and it's like if you can use it on the road, you can use it on the track.
Yeah, it would be much easier. Or I think, let me do the second example. Second example, South Australian 3K champs. There's an athlete in the B race, right, and he's racing in the over 35s. And on their website, they state, if you're in the open race or you're in the under 20 race, you have to wear compliant shoes, World Athletics compliant shoes. So this is the B race. The athlete comes to the start line. The official looks along, starts eyeballing shoes, picks out this athlete who's in the over 35 category, gets him to lift his shoe up. Official looks at it and goes, yep, you're all good, mate, walks off. This athlete's wearing an illegal shoe. The official's got no fucking idea what the shoe was, doesn't know what its name was, if it's on the list or not, and he's just okayed this shoe that he shouldn't have, where at the same time the athlete's allowed to wear it anyway. So it doesn't make, it's just insane what's happening, and it's such a confusion point that I think it's turning people off running on the track.
Oh, huge barrier to people not get involved in athletics.
Well, do you remember last year when I had the athlete that wanted to go and run in the ACT 10,000 metre champs? He'd never been on the track before, wanted to just wear a super shoe, didn't care about times, they're like, nah, need to wear a compliant shoe. They have literally 2 people entered in the ACT 10,000 metre champs. It's absolutely nothing event, and it's just turning more people away when you could actually have a lot of recreational runners out there running 10K on the track, but they don't because of the shoe regulations, but then also the barriers in terms of people out there might want to go and run one track race a year, like the 10K or the 5K at the state championships, but it's going to cost them $200 just to be a member of a club plus the $30 entry fee. And it's like, well, how can I justify paying $230 for one race?
This is what Surf Coast Track Night was all set up for, is to bridge that, to give people a taste of the track, to show them what athletics could be if they liked it and bring them over in the future.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of that. And like next year, we'll get it going a bit more.
Where are we at with prize money? So let's say I go to this 5K frenzy next week, wear illegal shoes, which I don't think they're going to have a problem with, come third, get $100 prize money. I'll give that to the guy in fourth. I actually would, because I'd be like, you know what, I've done the wrong thing here. And I don't think I'd enter a track race that I could potentially win, because then it gets a bit awkward if I'm not going to wear the right shoes.
No, but Brady, the race should come out with a statement on it.
Oh, yeah, true.
If the race comes out and says we're not enforcing compliant spikes, then you keep the money.
Okay.
If they say,
I don't think I'll be getting any, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, they might come out and say, you're welcome to run in non-compliant shoes. However, your time will be asterisk, and you won't be eligible for the prize money. But then that creates this issue where the race organisers have to know the shoes, be able to identify them on the track, and link them up with that list. So you're really relying on the athlete to do the right thing there, because they're not going to be able to do that in person.
Yeah.
Most of the time, though, it's own. You know how each meet has a permit level or whatever. In terms of where it sits with world athletics. And so I know in Canberra there are a lot of interclub races now where you don't have to wear compliant shoes. You can wear super shoes in track races if you like. It's just seems, and same with the New South Wales Milers races. People have been rolling around there, the 5K on the track in super shoes. But I think it's more just the state championships where people can use that race for qualifying for nationals, breaking records, that sort of thing, where they actually care about the shoes, which I sort of get. Okay, outside of an A race at a championship, just who cares what people wear?
The shoes aren't performance enhancing though. The shoes that aren't allowed. If you went to most A races, everyone would wear spikes anyway.
All right. So here's a question for you, Moose. So somebody like Cheptegei holds a world record for the 10K. Does he run faster in a pair of super shoes than he did in a pair of spikes?
Yeah, I think it's dependent on the super shoe. I don't think he runs faster in an Alpha Fly on the track. I think he runs faster in a Vaporfly than he does in a Dragonfly, though.
But wasn't there a window there where you could, as I said before, when I could race in the track there, and the good guys were still wearing spikes?
Yeah, did you see the college race after they introduced World Athletics, but NCAA didn't pick it up? They all wore super shoes.
True.
Initially, when all this stuff was coming out, people didn't know. People were like, spikes are for the track, shoes are for the road.
I knew, Moose. I knew.
I knew too. Don't worry. I fucking knew.
I remember one of those Steigen 10Ks. You beat me by 5 seconds and I just couldn't pull you in. And I'm like, I'm in spikes. I should be able to beat him. I was in Batumbos. Fucking Batumbos and he was in 4% croaks.
Don't forget I'm 5 minutes faster than you over the marathon, mate. That might have something to do with it.
10K though, different ballpark. It's too confusing. We want to get people into our sport. It's a shit barrier. It's not good. I think athletics could be one of the biggest, one of the biggest organisations that hasn't benefited from the running boom. Because of the barriers they've put up. Because Croaks is talking about 2 people at ACT 10K champs, and there's all this rego and shoe regulations and all this shit, and there's probably 450 people at 3 different park runs on the same day. Yeah. We haven't capitalised on the running boom at all with these barriers in place.
I would love for people to be able to go and pay an extra fee on the day to go to an interclub meet and race. Pay an extra $20 plus your entry, to cover insurance or whatever, just to get more of those recreational runners onto the track.
But folks, they're coming from a fucking big race energy, and they're going to go down and run in front of 12 people on a 38-degree afternoon with 6 people in the race.
But if you change that culture, then you get more people on the track. So it's not like it is now.
There needs to be better an improved structure to the blue collar athletics than there is now.
Those track meets that like the 5K Frenzy and the Richmond 5K and those ones like midweek, they're doing well. What about, here's an idea for you. Albert Park Run has 1,300 people. Why, if I was in charge of Athletics Victoria or Athletics Australia, I'd be trying to get some kind of relationship going with Albert Park Run and saying, you know what, 1 week, can we just invite 100 people to go around on the track?
100 people on the track,
50 people.
You can't do it.
Just who wants to go? Don't go around the lake today, guys. Who wants to come in the track and do 12 and a half laps?
No.
Come on, who wants to come in? Come in.
But you all need to be within a certain time frame, otherwise it's just...
Experience it, guys. Experience it. You can still get your barcode tagged. It will still come up.
I think
then the next week, we want 30. We want 50. Look at this.
Yeah, but then you've got... Like, the track can only handle 25, 30 people in one race.
They don't give a shit about running lane 1. People be in lane 3 the whole race. Lane 4.
I don't like that.
Just get them in there.
You've missed.
Okay.
Who's counting laps then, Brady?
Yeah, it won't be that. Just go on your Garmin. When your Garmin bips 5K, you can stop. Here's a barcode.
Everyone's stopping down the back straight with 250 to go.
You've had a nightmare there, Brady.
Let's dumb it down then. At least open the gates to the track. You know what I mean? And just go, you know what? The gates are open today. If anyone wants to stick their head in and see what this blue thing is 50 metres away from your start-finish line, just open the gates.
What about this?
Or invite those park
Bring the
runners
Athletics Australia. I'll help you out. Consultant.
For 1 or 2 meets to be able to pay $30 as a one-off to go and actually run the 5K as part of one of the state champion. Well, that's sort of what.
Don't worry about money, Croaks. Don't worry.
New South Wales do that. So they'll have the state 5K champs, but they'll have some community 5K races on before the graded races start.
Yeah. That's
great.
That's kind of the vibe that you're after, isn't it? Because even when you start looking at, you've got 25 people in a race, 3 races, 75 athletes, but you really like 75 athletes. You're thinking Parkrun gets 1,400 athletes. That is let's say you get half of them. Over 2 years, you gradually get it to a point where you get half the amount, 700 people. You're looking at a lot of what's that? 228 races, 30 races. That's hard work to do. I don't think our sport is built for that. Unless you have like footy oval, like multiple tracks. 3 tracks all in the same spot.
Finish on the track? I'm pretty sure that 5K community race at Zatopek, they finished on the track.
Yeah, I reckon just build up those nights. You just get more regular track nights.
Track nights, yeah.
Each running club, like the blue collar, get out of this mindset that shield is everything and you need to build your shield numbers. Put these Richmond race, Surf Coast track night, Bendigo, all of them on. And just do more often. Just make sure everyone's got one of them going.
And all the shield races, are they middle of the day as well?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like 2 o'clock on a Saturday. I don't think it's even called shield anymore, is it?
Interclub, maybe?
AVSL, I think it's called that.
Oh, yeah, Shield League. AV.
But see, that's
Shield
tough.
League? I don't know.
That's tough to get distance runners along to as well because it's like generally the weather is terrible. It's either hot or windy.
Yeah.
Plus, a lot of the recreational runners are like, well, I can't go and do a race at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon because it's like I've got my kids' sport or something like that. Whereas that's what's good about parkrun because it's first thing in the morning. But also I think the night races are quite good because, I think it's easier to get to a night race than it is to a mid-afternoon race, and the weather's often better at night races.
Don't think we solved anything there, but we had a chat about it.
Back to Jack Rayner. His PB is his debut, 2:11.06. But
hey, hang on.
But I'd like to bet that by the time he ends his career, his debut is not his fastest.
Another bet.
Do you want to take that one?
I don't want to take that one.
That's a terrible bet. No one's taking that bet.
Why? Well, Moose was trying to make out that Jack Rayner's debut was going to be his fastest.
No, you're talking about two different things.
Comparing him to Jeff Hunt.
Come on, mate.
All right, let's move on to listener question, Croaks.
All right, so this episode's listener question is proudly brought to you by Precision Fuel and Hydration. Take your nutrition to the next level. Check out the link in the show notes for their free online planner to nail your fueling and hydration strategy, or even book a one-on-one consultation. visit precisionhydration.com. Now, a bit of a different question for us about returning to running after having kids. So, hi all, part listener question, part asking for a recommendation. How did your wives get back to running after having kids? Any particular program or just a good coach? My wife is keen to start running again after having our second child. Thanks as always for the great show. And that question comes in from Mark Pavel.
All right,
Yeah.
we can assume that the baby's like 8 months plus old, no pelvic floor issues.
8 months?
Well, I'm not qualified to talk about
Fucking
this.
8 months?
Yeah, like,
That's a long-
What has she been doing for the last 5 months then?
well, I just want to put some things in place here that like 3 males talking about this stuff if the baby's 2 weeks old that we've got no qualifications in.
Well, maybe you, but...
Okay, I'll just be quiet. I did message
8
my
months.
wife and ask her how to answer this question, and I've got stuff here.
I'm happy to assume that the mother's body is capable of going back to running in terms of like, you know, the pelvic floor stuff. And because I know Viv, when we had Lily, she had like appointments with the physio, and this was actually through like the Department of Health physio to basically, I guess, do an assessment, make sure that pelvic floor and everything is, I guess, getting conditioned. So she did a fair bit of that when Lily was born, not so much when Collis was born. But Brady, you want to assume that they're past
That's been
all of
ticked
that.
off, yeah.
And
No,
it's
that's
more,
part of it though. That is part of the return to run for a lady is go to a women's health physio and get the assessment
Get professional
that Brad's
advice.
talking about and go, am I cleared to start running again?
And it depends on
That's-
natural birth, C-section as well.
It
Like
does,
C-section's
yeah.
a major surgery, yeah.
It does depend on that, and so that's where you need to get that tick of approval basically to start off with, and that can be different for everybody. So everyone has a different recovery, but generally speaking, I think it's like around that 10 to 12 week mark where ladies can get going again.
So let's all right. So that's step one. Make sure that you've had all the assessments done, and so now let's get more into they're trying to find the motivation to get going again after having the kid, and obviously like changes in their body, not as much sleep. So let's deal with that aspect of it, I suppose.
Well, yeah, okay. So, I mean, I can just talk to Bree because I've been around and seen that, and I think I did coach her as she came back, and then also Ali, also been involved in her return plan, and she's a physio herself and very interested in women's health physio too. So, the comeback motivation generally, it's pretty high that I've seen just in those two women because they've been off running for so long and they've been carrying around this baby for however long, and then they haven't run for another 12 weeks after that. So I know those two ladies were desperate to get back running. Well, Ali, it was her job, so she needed to get back to work essentially. But Bree, I mean, it's just out of the passion she had. So much off running, and she wanted to get going again. So you have to really control that motivation, that ambition, because of the risks involved. The risk being like all the changes that happen when you give birth, like the pelvic stuff, all the hips seem to come back, take the longest to come back, and you may have been off running for potentially 6 months before you actually gave birth, and then 3 months after. So you're talking like a very long time off running. So the comeback should be quite a slow rebuild, walk, run, just as you would from a long-term injury, if you consider it that.
Yeah, when I messaged Carly about it, she said she started with the run-walk stuff and almost like followed like a couch to 5K kind of style, like approach, listening to her body.
Exactly. Yep.
She kind of said here that she thinks it took her about a month to get back to like 5K. She wore the compression belly tights as well.
Yes, good call. Bree loved them.
But if it's the motivation she needs and she's already been exercising and the baby is older, then maybe she should get a coach that understands postpartum because how good would it be to have some guidance and someone to talk to about it, especially if she's home with the baby all day. It's like actually getting someone in your corner.
Yeah.
Who's been there, done that, or like has worked with athletes like that before. And I guess it's that mental health stuff of having someone you can talk to about.
I think having a good women's health physio or a good physio who specialises in women on the comeback is really important, just for all the strength training stuff coming back. And then you can have yourself a running coach who should understand, of course, but having someone in person who can actually assess you and give you structured strengthening and training and rehab in person is really important. So I think that would be a good thing as well.
And just sometimes the coach is there to slow you down, like set some paces, slow you down, like keep it consistent. Yeah, that's all I've got to add there, boys. You got anything else, Coach?
It's also not a linear return either. Like I remember Bree, she started off a bit too hard, didn't probably control the ambition as much, and she ended up getting, I think it was like that osteitis pubis type stuff going on, just because of the extra load placed, and she wasn't conditioned for it. So yeah, she probably went a bit hard early, and I think she said the other day if she had her time over, she'd be much more conservative on the rebuild.
I think Viv's motivation probably wasn't as high as what like Ellie and Breeze has. Like it took her a while to get going again, and so I think for her it was always just, hey, just get out, just make a start. Yeah, it's not going to be pretty early on. It's almost like coming back from an injury. Like it's going to suck initially. Don't compare yourself to where you were pre-kids, because that's just going to make you feel down in the dumps. Likewise as well, like I think sometimes, you see these pro athletes coming back so quickly and performing at a high level, and it's awesome to see, but sometimes it can actually be a bit hard for other females seeing that, going, well, why aren't I doing that? And so
social media be bad.
So don't compare yourself to others, and just get to the point where you're just jogging comfortably, and then slowly introduce sessions. And I feel like for Viv, it's like, if she doesn't have a goal in, like, obviously you don't have a goal initially, it's more about just getting out the door and getting some fitness behind you, or training so you can train. But then for her, it was like having some sort of goal, because when Viv doesn't have goals, it's very easy not to then get out and train. And the other one is probably outside of the physical side, like realise that, training's not going to be perfect when you've got like newborns as well. Same sort of stuff that we've spoken about for us, like if you're lacking sleep, like your training's probably not going to go as planned, and you're going to miss the odd day here and there. And that happens. So yeah, take it slow. Also enjoy seeing improvement. That's the one thing I've always loved about coming back from injury. Probably the only thing I've enjoyed about coming back from injury is you don't actually have to train very hard to see improvements. Whereas when you've strung together 6 months of training, 12 months of training, your improvements per week or per month are very, very small. Whereas early on, you see pretty big improvements.
Good from you, Krugs. Hopefully we've helped you a bit there. Was it Mark?
It was Mark.
Helped him and his wife. A few things to pass on there.
Yeah. So, thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration, Brady's relied on their products like the resealable 90-gram gel for his long runs, and plenty of elite athletes trust them too, including Olympians and ultra runners. Visit precisionhydration.com and use the code INSIDERUN2025 for 15% off your first order.
I used that the other day, fellas, that code.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They look after you?
Stocked up big time. Yep, did a big order. Sucked back one of those 90-gram gels on Sunday.
Thought you'd have your own code, mate.
I think that's what it was, wasn't it? I actually used both the codes. Not sure if they know that.
100% off.
Do you know you can use both the codes, boys? There's a little hack for you. You know the codes we got sent? You can also put in Inside Run 2025 for a bit more. Anyway,
all right.
Not sure if they know that, but now you guys do.
That.
Sometimes with websites, when you try to get a couple of codes going, it's like, one code only. Precision.
You're another Ash Watson here.
Oh, but that won't work next week when they hear this.
I'll do an Instagram post. We'll get it going. What's coming up, boys? Marugami Half Marathon Japan this Sunday. Andy Buchanan versus Brett Robinson. This is big, boys. Both been up at Falls Creek for I don't know how long. Seems like every time they go on a run, they got to post a photo about it. Won't go down that rabbit hole again. But fit as fiddles, Izzybat Doyle also in action. So this could be big. This could be real big. I'm very interested to see how this goes. I feel like Andy does. I feel like Brett's got a bit more pressure than Andy. Andy's not known. I guess he did that massive like PB at Melbourne and he ran 61 on a solo, not the fastest course in the world. So maybe the expectation is Andy does go 60-30.
I reckon they both feel pressure. Like,
Yeah,
I reckon.
I think it's bigger for Brett because if Andy doesn't run well, if Andy runs 60-50 and gets beaten by Brett, he just goes, I'm a marathon runner.
Yeah, I don't know, but I feel like now that, Andy's gone to a new level, so people now expect him to actually be running half marathon times of 2:06 marathoners.
Yeah, there's videos of him. There's photo shoot every day. He got the big new contract going on. You've been on the news, I saw.
Yeah, I
Was
saw
it
that.
ABC or something?
Yeah, ABC.
So I think you're right, Croaks. I reckon there's a fair bit on the shoulders of Andy coming into this race. Like, all eyes are on him. Brett, if anything, the aging champion, like, nothing to lose going into this. He's already passed the mantle over.
No, he wants it back. He does not want to pass it over.
Well, it's been part. He doesn't get a choice.
He can get a bit of it. He can't get the big mantle back, but he can get a bit of it back. He can get a bit of a, maybe a medallion on his chest or something.
Yeah,
He's not getting the crown back.
I'm not
but
saying he
get
doesn't
something
want
back.
it back. I'm saying that it's been passed over. Like, all eyes are on Andy right now, and Brett's just lurking in the shadows, going, "Yeah, that's cool. I've run 60 or 59.57, was it?
He won it.
And won this race.
This race.
All eyes are on Andy. He's on the news, mate. He's getting all the new. What do you call? What are the groups up there? David Pearce is making videos on Andy. He's on the
Wolfie's doing
he's
a
on the
few ones as well.
Wolverines post. He's on news. Who else is up there? There's a ton of people up there making videos on Andy.
Would you see the clip where Andy's in front of like Stewie? Looked like on K-Reps or something.
Oh yeah, there was a clip when Brett was well out the back as well. Chriso sent that to me saying, "Oh, baby, Brett's in trouble here." But I
Really,
don't know.
off one rep.
Chriso made
one
the call.
photo
Concern.
of one rep. Chriso's written him off.
Yeah. Anyway, so who you got? Andy, Brett,
Andy.
Croaks.
Yeah, I think Andy on current form.
Jeez, yeah, I can't go away from my boy there. Izzybat Doyle as well. She could run super fast. She's been up there.
Yeah.
She'll run a PB, I reckon.
Something 69.01 her PB. Expect something in the 68s. Geez, if Lauren Ryan, she ran, 68.40.
Is he low 68s for me?
That's Australian record, Moose.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Isn't it?
No. 67.
Yeah.
30.
It was like 21 or something.
Oh, I've missed a minute. I knew it was like, around mid-minute, but I thought it was 68. It's not 67. All right, that's something to talk about next week. Beppu Marathon, Ryan Gregson's also in there. Ran 2:13.30 at Melbourne for his PB. Is this the one we see the breakthrough? This will be marathon number 4 for him. Went to Melbourne, went to Hamburg, had a shocker, went back to Melbourne.
I have no idea.
What do you call it? What's a breakthrough for him?
Wow.
Like, does he have to go sub 210? Is that a breakthrough?
Well,
Or it's like
if Tim Vincent's running sub 210.
Or is 212 a breakthrough?
Ryan Gregson is a freak. Has been for a long time.
What's his best half, Gregson?
63.
Not that long ago.
Yeah, and it was like was it in Ireland or something?
No, it was like one of those
Wales?
Abu Dhabi ones, I thought.
No, it wasn't.
That wasn't.
It was in the UK somewhere, real bad weather, windy, cold.
Like
Cardiff? Was it Cardiff?
No.
Put a slab on it if you want. You want a slab?
On what?
Yeah, that it was in the spot I'm saying.
No.
It wasn't in Abu Dhabi. Croaks was pretty confident here.
I think if Gregson runs a PB, that's good. He's still progressing as a marathoner.
So that's something to talk about next week as well. Road to Ballarat's coming out as well this week. I did say every second week the other week, but the way the timing works, some weeks it's going to be 2 weeks in a row. Big show to follow, Moose. How good was Mona last week?
Yes. When I listen, I'm
Jace
sure
was good too. Jace was
Mona's
great.
always good.
Mona's
always good.
He was amazing, Mona. So big shoes to follow there. You're hosting that one, and you've got one of the women's favourites, which is
right.
going to be jumping on.
Going to the women's race here.
Won't give too much away there, but that was fantastic. The other bit of a quick shout out I wanted to do as well here, fellas, a long time listener and supporter. He's got a bit of a health battle going on at the moment, and it's his 55th birthday on the 31st of Jan. Bartek, his name is. I met Bartek at Run for the Kids one year, currently fighting stage 4 lung cancer, and I heard a bit of a whisper that throughout the past 5 years our podcast has been a consistent motivator and entertainer with him. With our theme music, Benny Walker's Undercover of My Skin, our opening song, which that is, it's been a bit of his theme song. So I hope his kids, Piper, Hallie and River, spoil him on his birthday there.
Bartek, good. I don't think I've ever met Bartek, but geez, he can pump you up on Strava.
Oh yeah, positive man.
He's one of those fellas that he's always getting around you.
Yeah, he got a big smile on his face when I've seen him in person a couple of times.
Yeah,
so appreciate his support, and hopefully he's going well in that fight with the lung cancer. Croaks, what do you got coming up?
Not much. Last week of school holidays for us, and the kids go back.
This week or next week?
Our kids go back next week.
Oh, mine are back. I'm back Thursday. Actually, Vic
Yeah,
teachers are back tomorrow, but I don't work on a Tuesday, so I don't have to go back. But I'm back Thursday. Hudson's starting school Thursday as well. That should be good fun. Big morning in our family Thursday morning. Moose, what do you got coming up?
Floating around, actually. Floating around. Get this jab, hopefully.
Get a jab.
Yep. Not doing too much.
All right, good luck on Wednesday night. Patrons expect that maybe Wednesday night, definitely Thursday morning. Expect a couple of bonus shows as well. Do it all again next week, boys. See you later.
Brady, Antrim Coast Half Marathon it was.
Yeah, Ireland, isn't
Great
it?
Britain. Great Britain.
Send me a slab of 4X, Croaks. I'll pick it up from the local Dan Murphy's.
Didn't say yes on that one.
Yeah, he'll pull you up in a year and try to claim that from you.
Do a double or nothing on top of it.
Hey Moose, it was also good to have you on tonight. I know you wanted to. I know you weren't super keen, but it was. It's actually good having you on here, even though you weren't running much. Keep turning up.
Next week won't be on next week, but thank you.
Desi Linden, mate, just keep showing up.
Yeah, it's good.
I do have an idea for next week as well. We'll see what happens. Might have you here, might not, Moose. See you, boys.
Yeah.
See ya.
Whether you're a first-timer, chasing a new PB, or vying for a podium place, the McLaren Vale Marathon is the run for you on the 1st of June. With a new town centre race hub, beautiful course through the vines, award-winning wines and much, much more to see and do, South Australia's favourite destination race will not disappoint. Register today at mclarenvalemarathon.com.au.